All right. Hello, everyone. We'll wait just 1 second while all of our guests join our webinar before we begin. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful October day. Some great weather here to end October as we head into November. Remembering just a year ago, I believe it snowed on Halloween, so I'll much more gladly take the warm weather today as we get ready to go. All right. Great. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Visit Milwaukee monthly webinar series. My name is Josh Albrecht, Chief Marketing Officer at Visit Milwaukee, and I'll be stepping in for Peggy today to introduce today's topic and share a few partner updates. Today, we'll be joined by our Vice President of Communications and Advocacy, Claire Koenig, who will give us insight into the latest Longwoods data and what this report means for the state of travel and tourism in the industry in Milwaukee, as well as our partners, Ann Fishgrund and Jimmy Cool of IndyCar, along with Sherry Black, the CEO of the Wisconsin State Fair, brought us a wonderful event this past summer to the Milwaukee Mile. They'll be giving us a recap of the first IndyCar event in Milwaukee since 2015 and give us a little taste of what's in store for their 2025 event. But before we get to today's program, let's begin with this month's starred report, along with the latest and greatest partner updates. Let's get things started here with the STAR report that you now see on the screen. Looking first at Milwaukee downtown, we saw slight year-over-year dips in the average daily rate and RevPAR for the month of September, with increases in occupancy, revenue, and a nearly 2% increase in demand over 2023. In Milwaukee County overall, we saw dips in every category, with ADR, RevPAR, and revenue all decreasing roughly 2% year over year, while occupancy remained stable compared to 2023. Of note, there were 2 fewer weekend days in September this year than there were in last year, contributing to some of these dips in the data. Looking at our group segmentation data, we're seeing transient bookings slow down, but still up 0.5% for the year at $174 year to date. Meanwhile, group bookings, which are groups of 10 or more travelers booking hotel blocks, continue to grow up over 10% at $216. This increase is in part driven by the 2024 Republican National Convention that brought 50,000 visitors to Milwaukee. And finally, contract group bookings, these bookings include bookings at a specialty discounted set rate, also continue to grow at 10.4% year to date, or at $93. New and returning partners. Before we jump into our updates this afternoon, I'd like to take a moment to welcome our new and returning partners who have joined throughout the month of October. As you can see here on the slide, some of our new and returning partners include Bolter Companies, The Deco, Drive Box Milwaukee, Egg and Flour Pasta Bar, Gordo's Bubble Waffles, and many others. We can't wait to highlight all the incredible work you're doing throughout the city. Now, let's get things started this afternoon by congratulating the Wisconsin Center District on Baird Center's latest recognition as one of Exhibitor Magazine's 2025 Centers of Excellence. This award cements Milwaukee's newly expanded convention center as one of the very best in North America as a venue to host trade shows and events. Baird Center was also one of 3 convention centers to be nominated in the category of Best Convention Center, 100,000 to 500,000 square feet of exhibit space, which will be awarded next month. Big kudos to Marty and the team at the WCD on this outstanding accomplishment, and best of luck next month. Admirals hockey is back, and if you've been keeping up with the team, you might have noticed a familiar look and feel to the Ads warm-ups this season. Visit Milwaukee was thrilled to collaborate with the Milwaukee Admirals to create these kits, infused with the spirit of Milwaukee in every detail. The warm-up is fresh and flavor-forward. It's a love letter to the fans who call the city home. Check out the collab and get one for yourself today by visiting our website, or see them for yourself at an Admirals game and when they take on the ice at the next home game, Saturday, November 9th at 6 p.m. against the Chicago Wolves. Also get ready for a hauntingly good time. The first time ever, Milwaukee Public Museum's beloved Streets of Old Milwaukee are transforming into a spooky spectacle just in time for Halloween. Explore this immersive exhibit filled with decorations from the turn of the 20th century that bring the past to life with a seasonal twist. Don't miss out on this exciting blend of history and Halloween magic. Head to the museum now through November 4th for this wickedly fun adventure. Also, don't miss the Flavors of Africa reception on Visiting Chefs event. Join us for an unforgettable evening celebrating the culinary traditions of Africa, featuring a lineup of talented chefs who will showcase their cultural heritage through mouth-watering dishes. This event is a feast for the senses and a wonderful opportunity to indulge in delicious flavors. Downtown Milwaukee's Halloween Village at Baird Community Commons is now open, featuring interactive displays, a giant pumpkin, and plenty of seasonal fun for the whole family. Experience the magic of Halloween with engaging activities that celebrate this spooky season, running now through Halloween on Thursday. The 81st Holiday Folk Fair International is taking place next month from November 22nd to the 24th at Wisconsin State Fair Park. The oldest cultural festival in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County, this year's theme, Celebrate the Culture of Traditional Art, honors the rich cultural heritage of southeastern Wisconsin. Organized by the International Institute of Wisconsin, the event features diverse traditional art, music, dance, and cuisine, inviting attendees to explore how culture shapes identity and fosters community connection. As construction continues on North Avenue in the East Side neighborhood, we want to remind you that your favorite local businesses, including all the restaurants, bars, and shops you love, are open and ready to serve. Stop by and show your support to keep the East Side thriving. For parking info, be sure to visit Eastside Bid's website. Advertising sales for our 2025 official visitors guide and official visitors map are still in full swing. Don't miss your chance to be featured in these essential print publications. Map sales end on November 8th and OVG ad sales close on November 15th. Don't miss your chance to catch the eye of visitors from all over the country. Log into your partner portal to secure their listings today. And be sure to save the date for our next partner mixer in November on Wednesday, November 20th from 4:30 to 7 p.m. at the Fitzgerald. Mix and mingle with fellow Visit Milwaukee partners at this elegant venue while enjoying delicious food and drinks. Don't miss out on our last mixer of the year, RSVP today. Space is limited. Also, join us for the final installation of the 2024 Visit Milwaukee webinar series on Tuesday, November 26th. Next month, we'll share some travel trends from our partners at Zartico, including visitor spend and top origin markets, as we break down a busy summer in Milwaukee. Be on the lookout for an invite coming soon to an inbox near you. Now, I'd like to welcome in our friends from IndyCar, Ann Fishgren and Jamie Kuhl, who work in partnership with Sherry Black, CEO and Executive Director of the Wisconsin State Fair, who are going to race through some of the highlights of last year's event and give you a little sneak peek of what's to come. For the first time since 2015, IndyCar returned to the historic Milwaukee Mile, a track steeped in racing tradition that dates back to 1903. For those of you who were unable to make it out to this year's race, the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250 was an absolute success. The event drew 42,000 fans from all over the region to the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds for 3 days of free concerts and racing in an energetic and festive atmosphere. So now I'd like to introduce to you two of the folks who brought this to us and helped bring this event to life, Ann and Jamie. Jamie is the Director of Corporate Sales for IndyCar at the Milwaukee Mile and has worked in motorsports event management over the past 4 years. In her current role with IndyCar, she is responsible for corporate partnerships and race promotions within Milwaukee and the surrounding areas. We also would like to welcome Ann, who is the General Manager of NTT IndyCar Series races in Newton, Iowa, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with Penske Entertainment, based in Indianapolis, Indiana. With over 15 years of experience at Penske Entertainment, Ann leads a dedicated team managing everything from customer service to marketing and on-track safety. Her expertise and leadership ensure memorable events for fans and drivers alike. All right, welcome Jamie and Ann.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. And Josh, thank you for that really great introduction. I think you really said it all. Jamie and I have had the opportunity over the last year and a half to work with our friends over at the Wisconsin State Fair Park to bring back the NTT IndyCar Series. IndyCar and the history that the Milwaukee Mile has is truly something special and something you can't find anywhere else in the US. And so to be able to bring this event back, welcome so many fans to this historic track was truly something special. And for those of you that were there with us over the weekend, thank you for supporting the event, and thank you for joining us, because it truly was a weekend I don't think any of us will forget anytime soon. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Thank you so much. The Milwaukee Mile is one of the most historic tracks in the US. Every major IndyCar race car driver has raced there. Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, Bobby Rahal, Rick Mears, you name it. Old and new alike have raced on this track, have enjoyed this track, and we're so excited to come back and join us this year, Labor Day weekend. The track has a very long history. IndyCar has raced there. I think we counted about 114 times plus, maybe now 116 if you add this year's races, over its long history. So we definitely have a long and rich history here racing. And we were so excited again to bring it back and to plan for 2025, which we'll get to in just a second. We announced that we were coming back in the end of 2023, and we had a really great race. Next slide, please. We saw from an IndyCar perspective, we'll jump into what we saw at the racetrack here in a minute, but from an IndyCar perspective, IndyCar is one of the most diverse forms of open wheel motorsport in the US. IndyCar races on street courses, road courses, ovals like the Milwaukee Mile, and really dives into a great TV package. In 2024, IndyCar was broadcast on NBC USA and Peacock. We're starting to see a bigger shift in female to male demographics on TV, which also translates directly at the racetrack. Age, we're trying to get younger, diverse. We're trying to get a little more there, just like everyone is. It's always a goal, not only on TV, but also in person. But we definitely had an amazing success in 2024 with our TV package and our partner in NBC. In 25, we actually move 100% to the Fox network. All races, including the race at the Milwaukee Mile, will be on Fox. So it's a really great opportunity for the broadcast team to showcase the local culture and flair of every market we race in, including those beautiful cream puffs that take place on Victory Podium at the Milwaukee Mile. Next slide, please. So with that transition, right, we entered into the Milwaukee Mile for the first time in 9 years. We saw amazing attendance. We allowed customers to hopefully what we felt come in with a really great rate of a ticket, some corporate opportunities, more in the future. We hope that the community comes and joins us even bigger and better than they had. And we want to be open and fun to the community. So actually, everything outside of Grandstand Avenue over at the State Fair was open to the public. You didn't need a ticket. You could come and enjoy all the food vendors and the displays and activations for free. And then if you wanted to join us inside the racetrack in the grandstands, you could. And it really became a fun atmosphere with bands playing, families coming out, autograph sessions with drivers, little tech talks with some drivers at Blue Moon Tavern, and it was just a fun weekend for all. We had over 42,000 people in attendance, as Josh said. The biggest part of the IndyCar fan, and it was no surprise to me that it happened in Milwaukee as well, is that IndyCar fans travel, and our base is mostly here in Indianapolis, where I'm currently located, and they want to be everywhere IndyCar is that they can get there. So we think, for the most part, from what we can understand from our ticket sales and the information that we received from purchasers, is about 40% of purchasers were within the 60 miles of the track, which means 60% came from further away, out of state, came and spent money at hotels and restaurants and flights and you name it, came to enjoy that weekend from out of the area. So 60 miles is a really great indication of, how far people are willing to travel. And again, just like an IndyCar fan, majority of these customers have disposable income of a decent amount due to the fact that a household is making about $100,000 plus a year. And we really do try to keep a ticket price family friendly and oriented to ensure that it becomes a really great weekend for everyone. Next slide, please. Thank you. So with that said, we do have a video that will be sent out after to show you how much fun the weekend was. And we are coming back August 23rd and 24th in 2025. I can't believe we are already talking about that, but we are. Jamie Cool has joined me. She's our director of corporate sales. We have so many great opportunities for you as an individual, you as a household family member, or you as a corporation to come and join us, whether small group tickets to large suite and hospitality options, business displays, etc. We want to talk to you. We want you to be out there with us. We work with some really great companies locally and nationally, and we want to show you and your friends and your colleagues how much fun IndyCar can be and what we can do for you. So I'll hand it over to Jamie, but thank you for your time today, and we hope you enjoy that video when it comes out.
And hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Cool, as Josh and Ann have mentioned. I don't have much to say other than if you are interested in anything, whether that be, just purchasing tickets or corporate sponsorship, my information is on the bottom of the screen here. I will see and ask if Josh and Peggy's team want to send that out following this call. But I am in Milwaukee very, very often. I like to tell people I live there during the weeks, and then I'm back home in Detroit on the weekends. But love Milwaukee, love your city. It's become home to me over the last 9 months, and I'm looking forward to moving into 2025. And I will leave it at that. So thank you for your time today.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah, I had the lucky experience to get out there and see the race firsthand, be out there and feel the energy from the crowd and all of the great racing that was taking place. It's an absolutely magnificent event in a wonderful venue. We should all be very proud to have the Milwaukee Mile here in Milwaukee. It's a storied track. The racers love it, and I think everyone else would love it if they get out there and get to experience it in 2025. So again, thank you to Ann and Jamie for helping share some of the great information. The biggest takeaway for me right now is that 60% of the travelers from outside of our 60-mile range. So 60% of travelers coming in, that's new tourists coming to our community to experience an event, stay overnight, eat and shop, and have all the great fun in a summer in Milwaukee. So great having you again. And as they mentioned, we'll be sharing out the video and more information with our follow-up email to this webinar, and be on the lookout for more information in the months to come. We can't wait for a bigger and even better race in 2025. Now we'll turn to our main topic this afternoon, the latest Milwaukee Longwoods data. We last purchased this data in 2017, and we're thrilled to be able to share this report with you today. As you can imagine, a lot has changed in the travel and tourism industry over the past 7 years, while other aspects have hardly changed at all. This report, along with data from many of our other vendors, is so much more than an educational tool. It helps shape our marketing strategy, informing us of growth opportunities, traveler interests, and priorities, and what aspects of our great place on a great lake we can showcase to make the biggest impact on prospective travelers throughout the region. It helps us position ourselves as one of the most attractive destinations in the country for leisure travelers. And here to unpack all the data and give us a little insight into what these trends mean for the state of travel and tourism in our destination, I'd like to welcome to the webinar Visit Milwaukee's Vice President of Communications and Advocacy, Claire Koenig. Claire?
Thank you, Josh. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Hopefully you'll find something helpful in the next 5 minutes of this presentation to incorporate into your own marketing. It has certainly helped us since we got this a couple months ago. We can start getting into the slides. Like Josh said, we haven't bought this data since 2017, and we get it from a company called Longwoods. That name might be familiar to you if you think about the company the state uses every year for their main economic impact data that they release each June. That's where we get the big numbers talking about the total economic impact visitors bring to the state, and then at every county level. So all this to say, it's a very respected travel data and analytics company. And how they gather the data that we're talking about today is by doing phone surveys year-round with American travelers. And then they take a statistically relevant subset of those who said they traveled to Milwaukee in 2020 2023. And then that's the data we're going to go through now. So that's how they got it. Again, we haven't had this since 2017, but we are happy to update it and refresh it for 2023. The hope being that we purchase it again for 2024 and compare 23 versus our big year for tourism in 24. Let's get into it. The headlines. Overnight visitor spending is up in a massive way. You will see just how massive shortly. Our visitors are growing more diverse. This has been a key goal of ours over the last 4 years, especially to diversify our visitor base and have it better reflect the demographics of our community, same as we've been really pushing to diversify our partnership base. So it is great when we can see that some of these efforts are working. Visitor preference for hotels in our market is far above the US norm, which we think is great and speaks to the quality of our hotel package. Our visitors are generally coming from farther away. Our general rule of thumb is the farther away a visitor is traveling to get to Milwaukee, the longer they'll stay. The longer they stay, the more money they spend. So to see more out-of-state markets grow in our top 10 is a really good thing. We remain a strong drive market, though. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our marketing range being generally the 6-hour drive time, and that is still holding true as it does for many Midwest cities. And then beyond coming here to see friends and relatives, festivals, live entertainment, and sports events are the #1 driver of tourism in Milwaukee. Speaks to our friends at the State Fair, bringing in this amazing programming for the Milwaukee Mile, the State Fair itself, places like, events like Summerfest and all of our ethnic festivals. Bucks, Brewers, it all fits within there. The venue, performing arts venues, live entertainment venues of the theater district, these are all huge drivers of visitation for us. Again, the Longwoods data confirming that. Okay, the nitty gritty. So this is one of the most important slides of this whole thing, and it needs a little explanation because it measures trips and not people. And we don't actually have a data source of all the data we throw at you guys. We don't actually have a data source that tells us this many people came here in any given month or any given year. But we do have now this new number, which estimates that 24.7 million trips were made to Milwaukee in 2023. For us, that is a better number. Yeah, better number if we're talking about the ROI of tourism, because it is a better correlated with spending. It doesn't matter if I went somewhere once, but I'd be spending a lot more, of course, if I went somewhere 5 times. So again, more important for us to measure trips versus people. But these trips could have been made by people, by repeat visitors. And very important, again, because the longer you stay, the more you spend. Overnight spending was up by a very nice amount. I think it's like a little over 10%. And then in total trips, we saw about a 4.5% increase over the last 6 years. And people, we survived a whole pandemic. So to see increases at all and to see that healthy rebound that we've seen on the spending side is very, very good. Next slide. Okay, that spending slide. A massive increase in overall spending in our market, going from $2 billion in 2017 to $3.4 billion. And then you're seeing in the small print overnight spending doubled, which is fantastic. And it isn't just driven by inflation, which you might be wondering. Average inflation over the last 6 years, when we last did this study, averaged about 3.5%, 4%. This is far beyond that in terms of spending. So people are truly spending across categories more when they're traveling to Milwaukee. Keep going. Okay. So we have this Longwoods data. We're gonna get into the how, why, what they do here, why they came here, did they enjoy their time here. We have this both for overnight trips and for day trips. We're gonna just talk overnight trips more right now, though, because it's It is the bigger spending segment, and we would be here a lot longer if we dug into both. Again, those overnight trips totaling 8.3 million in 23 versus 7.5 6 years ago. The breakdown between adults traveling without their kids, and so family travel stayed about the same. We're not super surprised by that. Same with repeat visitors, stayed about the same. Continue. Okay, so where were they spending? Lodging is the biggest segment for spending. But it's staying the same, but you can see an absolutely massive increase in lodging spending. F&B spending, though, up in a nice way too. And again, this is across all segments. What this doesn't include is the spending on the transit they took to get here. So those flights, gas on the way, that transportation at destination is solely what they spent in the market. Okay. So per person trip spending, this is an important number when we're thinking about total economic impact. Sometimes this can be a good tool to estimate the total impact of an event. So again, we're seeing some whopper increases. This is about, where is my note on this? It's like an 86% increase, I believe, over the last 6 years. But here you can see the breakdown in the category spend, again, up across all segments. We do have some other data from a company called Zartico that you'll hear us using more and more as we dig into it, led by our amazing Alex on our team. And we're starting to look at how much visitors account for all spending at these Milwaukee businesses. And I'll talk about a couple of those later, but interesting on this one is for lodging. Of course, it's about 85% of all lodging spending is from visitors, versus like a restaurant's, and this would be just for the last 6 months. It's about 21% of all restaurant spending in our county would be driven by visitors. Again, you can just see what those average numbers look like over the course of their trips. Why did they come here? Main reason, visiting friends and relatives. That stayed about the same over the last 6 years. But again, special events are up. And if you are looking at this closely, you can see touring and city trip are also creeping up the list in 2023. Touring is means when Milwaukee is a stop on a larger trip that you're taking through the region, through the state. A city trip would be if you're coming from a rural area and going to the big city. The conference and business leisure categories, you can see, are down. And as many of you know, and as we say, unfortunately, all too often, that business travel outside of meetings and conventions has still not yet recovered from the pandemic. Okay. This slide talks about the this overnight market, and then of the percentages of those coming, the number that is very important to us here is that marketable number in green. In 2023 for us, that was about 40%. Those are 40% of the visitors whose decision to come here and influence or decide what they're going to do on their trip is something we can somehow influence. They're just coming here to take a trip, to have a good time, to do that girls trip, to do a solo trip, any kind of just vacation. The rest, there's another sort of purpose, business related, or you're coming to visit a family or friend. Go ahead. How do they get here? This hasn't changed really, and definitely influences that 6-hour drive range. We try to generally market within, but 78% get here using their own car or truck. If they're not using that, though, about 16% of all of our visitors are flying. And then you can see it goes down from there. It'll be interesting to see next year if train travel has bumped up a little bit with all the recent headlines with the success Amtrak has been having with some of their new routes between Chicago, Milwaukee, and the Twin Cities. Okay. How are they getting around when they're here? No surprise, it's their car or truck, because that's usually how they're getting here. Keep going. also important for us. You all know we spend a lot of time and effort pouring resources into our visitor guide, into our website, into our social media channels, again, to help attract visitors, but also to help give them the tools they need to plan their trips. So where are they getting that information from when they chose to come to Milwaukee? Our best takeaway from this is that both social media and our website have creeped up the list in those top sources for planning. We put a ton of resources into planning those itineraries, working with influencers who speak to their own audiences with itinerary type tips and just travel inspiration. And this is, again, affirming that that is something we should continue to dedicate resources to. How do they book their stay when they're here? Since the vast majority stay in hotels, as you'll see on the next couple of slides, quite far above the US norm. They're actually booking directly through the hotel. Online travel agencies would be second. That's your Expedias, your TripAdvisors, and then you can see on down, they are booking their stays through our website about as often as they are booking through short-term rental sites like Airbnb and VRBO. So that's just interesting to note for our end, since we also have a booking widget on our site. Going through. Keep going. Okay. Again, about 50% of folks are staying in in a hotel while they're here, 8% better than the US norm, but a huge increase since the last time we did this study. Again, we think this is thanks to the range of diversity we have in our accommodations packages, and also points to the fact that we have relatively few short-term rentals compared to other markets. Keep going. Okay. The shopping in the top activity when they're here, 49%. Very nice to see our visitors are shopping at locally owned businesses. And thanks to some of this Zydeco data, we know that about 25% of all spending at retail stores are driven by visitors. So think of these numbers as the breakdown of that 25%. What types of stores are they going to? And that can help. So that's probably related to some of those city trips, the folks from outstate Wisconsin or Northern Illinois coming in to do some shopping, where we have some amazing options for them. Dining. It's been a big couple years in the dining scene for us. And here's where we get a pretty good look at where our visitors tend to like to eat while they're here, and which helps us figure out what kind of restaurants and dining experiences we should highlight in our own marketing, like our cookbook or through activations with Top Chef. Again, about 21% in the last 6 months of all spending at restaurants in Milwaukee County was driven by visitors. And then again, this is that breakdown of what types they tend to prefer. I think this also speaks to Milwaukee's sort of casual nature and its huge approachability factor. Continue. Okay, did they have a good time while they were here? It's an overwhelming yes. So we can all give ourselves a pat on the back for that. These are, again, because the font is very small, these are the different areas where they were ranking of things they were most satisfied by when they came to Milwaukee. Overall, 63% of visitors to Milwaukee were very satisfied. And then a healthy percentage were somewhat satisfied. So we're just calling that vast majority satisfied with their trip. In 23, they were most satisfied with the quality of the food, the friendliness of the people, the quality of accommodations, sightseeing and attractions. And then you can see as it goes down from there. And again, this helps us figure out what should be those big themes we are pushing across all campaigns. Or where we can work together as a community and try to nudge things in the right direction. accessibility. About 14% of all of those who traveled to Milwaukee in 23 had someone in their party, maybe not necessarily themselves, who needed some sort of accessible accommodation. And the good news here again is that the vast majority were satisfied with the level of accommodation that Milwaukee offered across the various activities and accommodations where they stayed. Okay, what do our travelers look like? You may have seen some of this data because we included in our visitor insights that is in Peggy's weekly email, and then it's linked to, well, it's linked to through that. It always lives on our website on the visitor insights page, and it pulls our monthly profile of visitors from a company called Tourism Economics. So as I mentioned before, we have an abundance of data, and we feel really good about presenting it today, for example, because a lot of these data sources confirm each other's findings and make us feel very good about presenting them, and then of course relying on them to use them in our own marketing. But here we're looking at the household income. Most important point, I think, is about average household income for visitors to Milwaukee is about $64,000. Keep going. What do they look like? Just slightly interesting to know, we do have more solo travelers coming to Milwaukee. I mean, from the travel media and influencer side that Ian and my team and I see every day, definitely seems like we're talking more and more about solo female travel, solo travel in general. There just seem to be more people covering that sort of thing, and media push behind it. So again, seeing a little bump here. And then diversifying our travelers are becoming more diverse. Again, this is great to see because our marketing we have been marketing in more diverse outlets than ever before, and really weaving that into everything we do. In each marketing piece we put out, we want everyone to feel welcome or find something that resonates with them. And again, we are seeing that it is moving the needle in the right direction bit by bit. Okay. So that's it from the Longwoods section. We will be making all of this available on our website, and I believe we're getting this out in the recap email. But feel free to email me or Alex, Peggy, or Josh if you have any questions about it or want to learn more. And then I definitely encourage you to check out that Visitor Insights page on our site, because that's where we'll put the freshest stuff that you can use in your own businesses. Handing it back over to Josh now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. Great reports. The Longwoods data is amazing information for us to have and for all of you to hear as well about the great success of tourism in the Milwaukee area over the last few years, and some really great visitor insights. And we've, as many of you have seen, we are committed to getting the data and providing more data to all of you, our partners in the community, so you can make more informed decisions as well about attracting more travelers to the area. And with that, we'll be having Zydeco next month. As a reminder, we mentioned it earlier, but our Zydeco data will be shared next month in our monthly webinar series. Some really great insights on traveler trends, current point of interest information, origin markets of our visitors, and much more. So definitely keep a lookout for the invitation for November's webinar series as well. I want to again thank our friends from IndyCar for joining us today. Lots of great information about a wonderful event in our community and how we can maximize its potential in 2025. And we're looking forward to a great Halloween weekend. Thanks again to everybody who joined us today, and be on the lookout for our follow-up email coming soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.